Hooray.
So Brandon, I don't know if you caught last week's episode.
Nope, I don't watch the ones I'm not on. Refuse to. Not out of anything but principle. You hear me? Look at these eyes. All right, I'm gonna look right in the camera. I know I told you could record with somebody else, but how fucking dare you? You hussy.
I asked your permission.
Yeah. Oh,
I asked your permission, but also
my headphones fell out, and I don't even care right now. Go ahead, say some shit. Say some shit I'm not going to hear again.
But also, he is the boss.
You're not wrong, and I understand that I am really just inadvertently picking a fight. But also, that assumes the boss listens, and I'm not sure he does either.
Oh, he does. He listens. He does. Yeah, he listens to all of our casts. Like I was I've been very surprised every time I've seen Keith in the real world. He always tells me like, if you ever want me to come on, just let me know. And I'm like, motherfucker, you have 2 other podcasts. Like he has the Hard Knock Live podcast. He has his toy podcast. He has special interviews with other people. Like, yeah, but he wants to come on our show.
Some of those though, he does it by himself, doesn't he?
He does the toy show by himself. Hard Knock. Well, he interviews people. Hard Knock Life. Right. He has 2 other hosts.
So what we're saying, what he's telling you is we might be a little more fun than some of the other people he's talking to. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know. He might want to he might appreciate like our laid back nature, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, probably. I literally, like, before we got on, was looking up the lyrics to Eric Clapton's Cocaine, because all I hear in my head was basically the like the whole thing of please don't die, vaccine.
So,
right, yeah.
God, fucking. Ugh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he's gunning for your job, and I'm not sure why, because it's his.
You're not sure why. On the Hard Knock Media Podcasting Network, you're not sure why he's gunning for my job?
Yeah, because it's
really,
I mean,
really, really.
Well, I will say
I mean, I'm not saying it. He can't just fucking fire me. Like that's, and I wouldn't even like. I'd be a little mad at first, and I'd be like, no, I mean that fucking makes sense. Like I'm on borrowed time, and I know it. Like I'm not confused about that.
Well, I did make sure we talked about a topic that you might not give a shit about. Like we talked about.
I saw the thing. Okay, yeah right. A thing I know little to nothing about, other than the Music Man and just shouting Gary, Indiana over and over again.
The world's fucking wagon is coming.
Right. Yeah. See, yeah. There are things yes. And in the version that I think I remember hearing was like a middle school production. So it was more of like all you heard was Gary, Indiana, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense.
You know, if Broadway isn't going to put their pro shots on a streaming service, I want to start a streaming service of nothing but middle school productions. I would watch the shit out of that. It would be amazing.
See, the problem is, though, I would need to hire a group of people to travel around and just record ones and then just ask for consent afterward.
Yeah.
Because I'd be worried you'd get a bunch of like early onset YouTube douchebags trying to make a show of fucking everything.
Oh, man. No, I like you film it like you do a pro shot, you mic it like you do a pro shot, and then you make a streaming service out of it.
Nope. You film it like a dad with a fucking handy cam in 1998. Big shoulder mount shit. Like all I want to see is those kids staring back at this much of their dad just the whole time. And then ever so often you just get a big thumbs up in the corner of the shot.
or nothing but vertical video.
Nothing. Yeah.
Vertical.
Fuck it. You know what I want? I want it shot on an iPhone, sitting behind someone shooting it on an iPad, holding it up, fucking vertically. So this way we get the absolute real middle school production experience.
Oh, Brandon.
Behind that asshole.
Brandon, I would pay my $5 per month to watch that shit. Per month. I don't care if it's like there's only 5 on the stream service. I would watch all 5 every day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
It would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Now I need this. We're done. The show's over. That's it. Like, we're done. Oh man. All right. Well, yeah. So I made sure we talked about something you didn't really give a shit about, but now we might give a shit about it. Cause like, nothing beats middle school productions.
You needed me. I showed up for like 4 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've already been like, okay, look, musicals are fine, but here's my premise, right? I'm already pressing to get my job back. Like, I get the idea. I had a performance review. I wasn't there for it, which didn't help anything. And it did not go well. So I'm really like, I am flexing out. I am Ken Griffey Jr. in the box, just getting loosey-goosey with the swing.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to stop it now. And then
we'll hit the bumper.
And we back. Brandon, it's been a while. Do you remember how to bring us in?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh. For the listening audience, he disappeared.
In the beginning, there was nothing but a series of tubes brought to us by the one who warned us of the climate's change, Al Gore.
Ooh.
And with that gift, years on, we received the blessing of the recorded voice. First started on radio, passed around by cassettes, by friends and weird radio nerds alike. They tape traded for decades. Names like the Grease Man, the Wolf Man, Don and Mike, Howard Stern, and other fucking white people.
Hubble-doo gaga.
Gabba-dee-goo-doo-boo. And with that became the premise that was the podcast.
Doodads.
I'm unclear because I haven't done the research who actually started the podcast, but near as I can tell, it was an early onset white guy with a beard who definitely had a failing comedy career, who was trying to get listeners and get his point across, whether it was political, whether it was social, whether it was just talking about Star Trek with his friends. The podcast began, and a foothold took upon the internet, and people who walked themselves to and fro from work, to and fro from public transport, in the car, in their ears, walking the dog, having a little chuckle to themselves, learning about some sort of scary person committing a murder on a true crime podcast, talking about Dungeons and or Dragons, possibly both, and waxing nostalgic about things in their past. But what they didn't have, Jamie, were you and I.
It's true.
Talking about whatever the fuck we wanted, because we used to have a concept for this show. And then we opened a window and we pushed that fucker out. And we call This audio gift brought to you by the gods that I do not believe in, the fucking Do It Cast, part of the Hard Knock Media podcasting network. Like a lightning bolt from the god Zeus himself, he throws down the audio thunder upon you and I, and we bring everyone dumb shit like us talking about tacos and other food related things, and find out how many ways we can bring up the fast and or the furious, and possibly both. But we couldn't do any of that. We couldn't bring it to the waves of the internet. We couldn't stuff it in one of those little banker tubes and shove it in the series of tubes and have it bounce and pinball its way through the internet and come into your ear holes right there, those ones right there, and bring you the dulcet tones, not of me, but of our favorite son, Jamie motherfucking Noguchi. Because that's why we're really here. That's why we're really part of the Hard Knock Media podcasting network. And we say Hard Knock Media as in NOC, as in no one else matters except Jamie motherfucking Noguchi, because that's the fucking name that brings you here. What YouTube channel are we on? It ain't mine. It's fucking Jamie's. Whose concept is this? It's fucking Jamie's. Fucking do it. It ain't mine. I can repeat it all I want, but make no mistake, I am a hanger on. I am a second coming. I am very much just the guy desperately clinging to Jamie's coattails saying, please, please take pity upon me. I promise I'll give you the yuck yucks from time to time. And worst case, I'll carry you to and fro. To and fro. Can I remember how to do an intro? No, Jamie. I can only feel how to do an intro.
Yes.
Fucking cockles, my dude. Deep down. Deep down.
Oh, my God.
Knocking over picture frames. I'm perspiring, Jamie.
Brandon.
And it's not because I'm fat. I mean, it might be because I'm fat, but I'm going to say it's not because I'm fat.
Yeah. They lost something when a certain show lost something when we decided to do something else.
You mean an audience or a live venue?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but like no one can bring on people like you can. That was fucking amazing. Like
one more time with feeling. That's the idea.
Yeah.
But it's some of us have a gift, Jamie, and it's not making other people uncomfortable. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, speaking of local radio, did you hear that? I think Don Geronimo is coming back to the area, like the oldie station. 100.
That's what I've heard. What is it? 100.7?
100 point something. Yeah, one of the hundreds.
Or 104.3 or whatever it is. I never know which one is actually doing it, but yeah, I heard it because I still follow Mike O'Mara.
Oh yeah.
On social media and stuff like that. Like I listen occasionally. The holiday ones, when they get near the holidays, they get great.
Yeah.
They stopped doing the Elvis show anymore. And the Elvis show used to be my favorite thing.
That was a great show.
But when they do the holiday ones and you get like maybe 10 days out of Christmas, they'll do these great bits where they'll do bullshit, non-existent recipes using Kraft baby marshmallows. And they're fucking great. And like they put the bumper bed on it and everything else like that. And it's like Uncle Mike's delicious holiday breakfast squares. Start with a dozen eggs out in the sun and let them bake. When they smell, they're ready. And like you continue to go through everything and just pile on this awful list of things. And then you tell him like, now set the oven for 425. And after 35 minutes and a rapid listening of Jungle Love on 4 times speed, you then top with, and then everyone at the same time goes, Kraft baby marshmallows. Right. And it's fucking great.
Oh, that's awesome.
They also tend to get really drunk near the holidays too. Yeah. And they'll like in the years past, they would do stuff in Northern Virginia, like one of their buddies' bars.
Yeah.
And it really did feel like a bunch of radio people and a bunch of friends hanging out and having a party. And it was kind of nice that way. And like when I had reached out previously, because like they have a paid service that I had used a couple of years ago when I was like really listening to them hardcore, and reached out to Oscar just like randomly, just like, hey man, really appreciate everything you're doing. Having a really good time listening to everything. And like, dude went out of his way to go back and forth with me easily for like a 10 back and forth exchange on like where I'm out of, what I'm into, what's going on, told him about our fight. Like, he was a genuinely good dude who really had nothing more than like, admittedly, what I was really looking for was either him to just give me like the thumbs up emoji to my message or just be like, thanks, man, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And really went out of his way. And it's like, I can't tell if they don't think they're that big or they just genuinely want to show appreciation for people who are paying them to do the thing that they really want to do. But like, it felt very right. And I can give a lot of love to that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But, in turn, I saw him like post up about that. And it was a lot of like, you know, to my understanding, well, no, it was more of a like, to my understanding, their falling out was bad.
Oh.
And yeah. And like, I am very much paraphrasing and haven't done research in forever, but like Buzz, I think their news guy ended up leaving with Don, and it was a little ugly about everything that happened. And there was a bit of animosity for a while. And like Mike immediately, like when he found out about it, he was like, hey, wanted to wish congratulations to my former radio partner. We wish you the best of luck. Looking forward to seeing you at local venues, blah, blah, blah. And was like really fucking humble and chill about it. And everybody who I could tell was a radio nerd was like, fucking good on you, Mike. Way to bury the hatchet. That's definitely not awkward at all. And like, it was progressively these dickheads just needling Mike, be like, hey, way to be the bigger man, Mike. I mean, especially tagging him in it. That is a class act to make sure he sees that you definitely approve of him getting a terrestrial radio gig. Good for you. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that's rough.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I knew that, I knew that they split. I knew that they did their own thing, and I knew that Buzz has his own show now. Like,
I tried listening to that like twice and was like, this guy's dry as fuck. I have no interest.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It was like I grew up with the three of them. That was like a big deal. Like in DC, and I don't know. That's really sad. It's sad when your parents break up.
I mean, I get it, because like morning radio is such a fickle thing, and like having a loose connection to like the guys on 98 Rock after the ones that were racist as fuck to you. The guy Justin Schlegel, who used to be part of doing that the wrestling podcast that Marty does, the Rough House, which, by the way, if you're a wrestling fan and you're not listening to it, it's a Rough House podcast. I don't know where they're hosted, but if you type in Rough House podcast, they should pop up. So if you're into Art Fight, you definitely should listen to that. It's Marty and his buddy Christoph doing that. But Justin, who used to be, or who is still part of the 98 Rock Morning Show, used to be part of that podcast. Was a lot of fun in that, but I get the idea of him being like, yep, radio is a whole thing. And to my understanding, like that's loosely why he's not allowed to do the podcast anymore, because people in radio get butthurt about shit. And like, but yeah, it's a whole thing. Like
that sounds like a business. That's like,
100%.
Yeah. Sounds like a whole bunch of like carny shit going on.
Yeah,
like
I know. And it really
stabbing and feelings.
It really does break my heart, because like there was a very strong desire when I was like 11 to get into radio. Oh. Like I wanted to do that bad because I thought I'd be really good at it.
Yeah. Well, you're here. You're podcasting. It's like radio.
It's just like radio.
It's just like radio.
I sit and I do a show with you for about an hour instead of 4 hours a day. And I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I sit in front of a computer screen instead. And I don't actually get to be entertaining or do any meet and greets or anything else like that. So it's exactly same thing.
Like radio.
It's exactly the same thing. I don't get, honestly, you know what? In that sense, it is a lot like radio. I don't actually get to put my 2 cents forward. And I have to mind my P's and Q's because things I say here might actually get me fired. So I do actually have to, as silly as it sounds, make sure I don't say anything, which, by the way, that's the scariest part, Jamie. I'm not saying shit.
Hooray. Hooray.
Yep.
Hooray.
Yep. Whoo, boy.
Brandon, I know you had an idea for a topic. Did you want to go over what like the Clapton stuff? But did you want to talk about what you're geeking on? Because you just came back from vacation.
I did just come back from vacation. But honestly, what I'm geeking on is we haven't really made it a real public thing or anything else like that. But I get married on Sunday.
What?
Yeah, just doing a little small elopement thing. So
nice.
yeah. So
nice.
Keeping it small, keeping it simple, like doing a whole other thing with friends and what have you later on. But it's we wanted to kind of get the thing out of the way and be done with it. And Nicole, I think, was like, I really want it to be October because my brand is spooky bitch, and that's what I need in my life. So I was like, cool, pick a date.
Are you doing a courthouse thing to get the like paperwork done and stuff?
We have already had her go get the courthouse thing. We have the license upstairs. So a one Charm City Shinobi shall be just signing the paperwork, putting his little rubber stamp on everything, and giving me just he's going to celebrate the way he knows how, which is he's going to do a springboard backflip off of my shoulders, and he's going to stomp on a wine glass when he lands. So it's not going to be a traditional Jewish ceremony, but it's going to be pretty close.
That's why he's not climbing with us on Sunday, bastard.
That is why he's not climbing with you on Sunday. Yeah, actually, that is 100% the reason.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
You got the starter one out of the way. That's fine. I got my starter one out of the way. That's fine. Some people don't need a starter, but like you and I needed to try it out before, you get a different car.
Well, I think it's more of we need to understand. Let's see how bad I'm going to tip. Let's see.
Well, you gotta try a Squire before you go in for the custom fender.
No. It's we all get into situations where we accept where we are, and then we make commitments maybe we shouldn't, and then we end up playing the most dangerous game of chicken, and no one jerks the wheel. And then we get accepting, and then some sort of catalyst happens. Sometimes it's our decision. Sometimes it's not our decision. And then we figure out what we really want, because I'm never doing that bullshit again.
Hooray.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So just the only thing I can say with confidence, Jamie, and I think I've gotten into this before, but I say this to all of the people who have friends who are in serious relationships. If you have concerns about your friend, be brutally honest about them. Like, you can get your friend kind of half drunk and start that, but be honest. Now, caveat, I did this way early on when I was like 21 and a buddy of mine was getting married. I was like, hey man, he wanted me to be his best man, and I turned him down. And I said, you shouldn't be marrying this person. It's going to be a mistake. And they were together for like 8 months or a year or something like that. And then I believe she cheated on him and then stepped out, and she's now in her third marriage.
Ooh.
Which, okay, fine. But excuse me, he just recently got remarried, but it took him, I don't know, 10 or 12 years to get there. Oof. So to finally find someone who he wants to be with, who was willing to tolerate him for who he was and everything else like that. So
I think that's the thing. Cause like I think in my case, there was expectations that like things would change. And I'm like, people don't change. People do not change. By the way, to be fair and to be clear, that friend of mine who wanted me to be his best man didn't speak me for easily 8 of those years. Like,
wanted nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I was persona non grata, and I respected him for it.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to care for your friend enough to have them tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So if you've got a friend and you're worried about them, a marriage is not permanent. Kids are very permanent.
Kids are permanent. Yeah.
And I am at the point now where I'm ready to have kids, and my soon to be spouse is also very ready to have kids. We had to be smart about this one, because even if I decide like, I'm really not happy, I still will have a child at some point in theory.
Yeah.
Then I can't just be like, I mean, I can if I want to be a fucking monster, but I can't just be like, I'm good. Good luck, buddy.
This might turn into a different kind of podcast.
Yeah. Congratulations. Welcome to a future in back hair.
Yeah.
Good for you.
To be fair, I did not know the previous administration well enough to say whether or not it was a up or down kind of thing.
I stand by my statement of, and I will exclude you and say not everybody had that reaction, but pretty much everybody, when I said, hey, we're done, they went, oh, okay. No one was like, but why?
What? Why?
Right. Yeah. No one was like, oh my goodness, how did this come out of absolutely nowhere to become a very shocking and sudden incident? Yeah. No one clutched their pearls. It was and I think that is the most telling of things is, yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, like
you and I had some very, I think, concerning conversations when we were in Chicago about a year beforehand.
Yeah.
That I think kind of gave you the idea of like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah. You said you revealed secrets, and I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah. I think you knew it was not long for this world.
Yeah. Twas not a surprise.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, like, be smart about what you're doing. And I don't know if I'm being smart or not. I know I'm happy, and I'm with somebody who supports me, and with somebody who's really motivated and wants to do things. And I feel like we've both grown a lot as people, and we're both working on things, and we deal with things together, but we'll both have the same goals.
Yeah. There
was not a conversation about, yes, I'd really like to have kids. And then we get into there and we're like, I think I'd really like to just sit on the couch. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. All right. Cool. Good talk.
I think
good talk. Cool.
I think also you're not having like a giant wedding, and those cost a lot of money. And I hate to say this, because like I have a good friend who's a wedding photographer, and they do amazing work. But like if you don't have to, you don't have to. Like, yeah, there was money.
There was a conversation that both my fiance and I had where I threw the idea out there of like, hey, not for nothing, but I have some concerns about logistics just day of. Yeah. And she was like, those are fair. That makes sense. Cause like we were talking about doing a lot of things at the house, and I was like, look, drainage could be bad if it rains. Like we're going to have to figure out plan B. Like we've got a lot of shit to pay for. And like 2 days later, she was like, hey, I was like, yeah, what's up? She was like, so what if we just 86 the whole thing and focused on kids? And I was like, wait, so you mean we don't spend a whole bunch of money on one day and we invest in a future family? She's like, yes. And I was like, that sounds like an incredibly responsible thing. There's no way our loved ones and or outside friends would have any issue with that.
Hell no.
We're so wrong. Anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're not going to get into that on the podcast.
That could be another fight. Tell them this. If y'all want a party, y'all have a party.
Yeah.
If you want to get dressed up and you want to get a venue and you want to get the catering, you can do that.
You should do that.
We're going to do our thing.
You should do that. You should do that.
There's nothing stopping you. If you want to have like the big to-do, you can have a celebration in honor of the married couple.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You can get, you know what? Fuck it. I'll pay for the fat heads. We can do custom cardboard cutouts. I'll do a couple of them. Like you can have one me like fully dressed up and I'll hold my arm out like this. We can do ones where like I'm in a set of overalls with a cowboy hat. We can do a little hoedown theme or whatever it is. Like we can do a couple different ones and y'all can just show up and get photos with us, even though we're not there. And honestly, you know what the best part about that is? No one's going to complain about anything I said that time, which will be the first time there's been an event that I've been at and somebody hasn't been like, fucking Brandon, really?
Yeah, I like a good party, but you know, I mean, you've been through a wedding. I've been through a couple. Like, you know, that's not the important shit. It's a fun time. It could be a fun time. It could suck, but it could be a fun time. That's not the deal.
Yeah, for me right now, the goal is basically the conversation that I've had with you guys on Father's Day, which is I watch you and Dan and Phil and Mikey and a lot of our other friends, Prindeville, with their kids. And I love spending time with all of your kids and realizing like, this is something I really want. And I hope I'm going to be good at it. And I hope that like I can do a pretty okay job. And I hope that 90% of it is just showing up, giving a shit and making sure everybody's not actively getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
because it feels like a lot of the situation is like, hey, I set this up. Everyone live. Okay. Yeah. Like
the first year is like, are you eating? Are you shitting?
Right.
Don't worry about the sleep. Are you eating and you're shitting?
The first year I'm not concerned about. It's the subsequent years, but like, especially I'm selfish in the sense of like when I get to hang out with Dan's son and I show up and he's playing with other people and watching him actively bail on somebody and run to go say hi to me. It's a selfish fucking thing in me, but it melts me because like, that's my little buddy. And that's awesome.
Fuck all y'all. Uncle Brandon's here.
Right. Like, and while I would love to sit and have a beer and talk with everybody and everything like that, at the same time, there is a tiny human who is super fucking pumped like a drunk friend to see me. And we need to go play with rockets and t-ball and slides and all sorts of shit like that. And frankly, drunken friends don't do that because none of my friends have that big of yards. So like we either need richer friends or I need to hang out with these kids more often because I love the idea of joking around with the Hazel with the drum game when you all were over the other. Like, I love that. I love because immediately like I got that game. I sat there, I played in my living room. I looked right in the corner. I was like, fucking Jamie and Hazel are going to love this. And she's like, yes, 100%. So the second y'all were like, hey, we're going to come over. It's like, I am going to have this ready. It's going to be rad. Right.
It's so good.
Right.
So good.
Right. But because I get Hazel enough that I can be like, X plus Y equals happy Hazel. And I feel like I can get that equation relatively right most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the goal. And it's really scary that I feel like I'm getting that close to that goal. But I think that's the right kind of attitude to have, because if I wasn't scared, I think I'd be in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like I got to respect that. I can't go into that too confident.
No. And it's going to be different. You're going to prepare and all your plans, just chuck them out the window.
100%. Yeah. The plus side is I go into a lot of things with a loose plan and I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. No, it's like, a lot of improvising.
Yeah.
It's like going to the venue. There's no microphone. There's no stage. There's no stuff.
Okay.
Some motherfucker did not bring the projector for some fucking reason.
In all fairness, that's mostly my fault. That lived.
Well, there you go. You know, we have to like, you know, grab something out of the dumpster to construct the rest of the rig because like part of it wasn't there. But like that's very much what raising a kid is like, because whatever you read is going to be out of date as soon as the kid comes out.
Yeah, that's been a lot of everything. Like, luckily, I've got a few friends that have literally had babies in like the last year. So at least their advice is, or their like just back and forth conversation at least feels relatively relevant at the moment, where it'd be like, hey, so this is where I found this resource and this had totally changed and this is what I had dealt with. And like, I'm not really worried about a lot of the stuff leading up to it. I'm going to trust doctors. I'm going to be as smart as I can and educated as I can about everything. But like, as far as like raising the kids and everything, it's going to take a village. And I'm going to ask you like, hey, have you ever dealt with so-and-so and what? You'd be like, holy shit. Yeah. Okay. Sit down. Right. And I love the idea.
I'm getting my jacket.
Right. I am fucking stoked for the idea of having conversations with all of you about shit that you just maybe hadn't talked to me about because we hadn't been on the same wavelength about something.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm super stoked about that, like almost weird, unlockable level of friendship where I'm going to be like, okay, so now that I'm a fellow dad, what the fuck?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I'm super stoked about all of that. So I think that's been really kind of buzzing around my head for the last week or so, and like leading up to the end of vacation, being like, cool, this is going to happen. And it's not going to happen with a lot of fanfare. And it's going to be very much just she and I. And I think that needs to be kind of the premise is like, look, we're going into this thing. You and I, we have to be a cohesive unit. We have to be a team. It's not about the show for everybody else.
Yeah.
It's about you and I going, yep, let's do this thing together. This sounds good.
Yep. Tag in.
Yeah. So
tag me in.
That is a very long way of talking about what I've been geeking about. So what?
Awesome.
Thanks, man. What have you been geeking about?
I just got a new camera.
Fuck yeah. What'd you buy?
So I went to there's a camera store in Baltimore, Service Photo or something like that, or Hamden Service Photo. They're a Nikon like distributor.
Oh boy.
They're outside of the building is like a old Nikon style like stuff. So I took a shit ton of lenses over. I took a bunch of bodies over, and I was like, I'm gonna trade this shit in. I'm gonna go the Nikon Z6 Mark II. I'm gonna go mirrorless now.
Okay.
So I can be fancy like Dan. But also like I had a lot of stuff that I needed to get rid of. And I'd been looking at this thing for a while. I was like, it has the video capability. If I want to shoot video, it has the photo capability, of course. And it's small. It's not like Micro Four Thirds that small, but it's smaller.
But it's small.
Yeah, it's small. It's portable. I have a whole bunch of old lenses from my dad and my grandfather.
That's cool.
So like I got a lot of manual lenses now that work perfectly on this because it has focus peaking.
Ooh.
You remember my grandfather's Leica lens?
Yes.
I can put that on this body now, and I can shoot 50 mil instead of at 100 mil.
Oh man, that's rad.
So that was so happy. That was so exciting for me.
Well, yeah, because we can go out and do street photography, and you can literally, and this is me projecting a ton, so I apologize. You can literally see through the actual lens your grandfather saw the world that many years later. And in theory, if you wanted to take that same lens to the same places where the same photos were shot and do perspective shots or whatever it is, or more importantly, just know that like everywhere you go and every photo you take and every time you look through that lens, your grandfather's there with you. That's fucking rad.
Yeah, that's exciting. And it has in-body stabilization. So like if I like move my hand a little bit, through the lens, it'll be nice and sharp. So that's exciting to me. I got rid of a lot of my Micro Four Thirds stuff. So I no longer that Panasonic body. I was using that here for a while, but it just, I tried taking it on a actual shoot and it did not perform the way I wanted it to. So I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this.
Good as a webcam, but not exactly good at much else.
And it's probably a lot of user error because like if I was focusing manually most of the time, that would have been fine. But I was like, this is just
but that means all you can really do is like big landscape shots and stuff like that. And that's not kind of cool.
Or like, running in and stuff. So
no, I get that.
But I saved I have 3 Micro Four Thirds lenses. And I wasn't sure if you still had your body, if Nicole was shooting with her body, because I have that 35. That big metal one with the manual clutch. That's really cool.
I was going to say, we only have the one camera between us.
Yeah.
So
I've got that lens. I've got a portrait lens, like a 85 if she wants to use that.
Yeah.
And then I have a macro, like a 60 mil. So that's like 120. I don't know if you guys do macro. So, But I kept those 3 lenses just in case you wanted them.
Yes.
So I could bring them over.
Yes.
Because they're primes, they're sharp, they're my favorite lenses.
The short answer is going to be yes. That's how that's going to go. Because like I don't see either of us, because she actually took that camera body and the lens that you lent us out to a wedding shoot and was a second shooter for a wedding. And like the photographer was super happy with all of her shots. She's like, no, this is perfect. This is super great. So like,
cool.
I don't see either of us until it becomes a like real thing that we get super more into. And I assume we'll get obnoxious with it when we eventually have a kid, but at least for the time being, I don't see us upgrading the camera. And honestly, until that thing really dies, I don't see a reason to, because neither of us are doing more pro stuff. Like it's a damn solid, like street and fun camera for personal use. It's
a great body. Oh, I have a 28 too, but that's on my like EP1, which is like the first Micro Four Thirds camera they ever made. I got it for like $30. So
hell yeah,
it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But those 3, I'll bring them over next time I see you guys, and you can have them because they are great. Like
that's awesome.
That 35 is nice and sharp. The 85 is gorgeous. And the macro one, like if you like bugs or if she has to do detail shots for a wedding, that would be perfect.
Just we'll totally end up using those. That's awesome, man.
So I'm excited about that. And
hell yeah. So congratulations to you. Also, thank you. But mostly congratulations on your new tech, because that's super fun though. Like, are you excited about going out and shooting more and everything because of that?
Yeah, I've been trying to like walk around the neighborhood and get used to it, because I haven't had a chance to use this Leica lens on anything. Like it was 100 millimeter on a Micro Four Thirds body. And I originally got into Micro Four Thirds because it was the only system that I could really mount it to that was affordable.
Right.
Because like I got my EP5 for like $50.
Right.
From like Singapore. And that, I was using that thing and it was okay, but like 100 millimeters is long. So like
it is kind of long. Yeah, you had to get back there because I remember you mounted it to mine and you were playing with it and you're like, this is really nice, but also this is really long. Because like I remember, I think we were in DC playing around with it, because I think it's when we actually went to the Leica store. I was like, hey, do you want to try out with like a more modern body?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you get excited and then almost a little discouraged, and it was like, man, I had hoped that eventually you were going to find exactly what you were looking for with that.
Yeah. I'm super happy. And now I'm kind of bummed because like my other grandpa had a Leica too, but they got rid of it. They sold it and stuff just because nobody was using it. And
I mean, that's fair. If a camera's just sitting there and no one's into photography, then I get it.
No one was into it. And by the time I got into photography, there were 2 Leicas in the family, one on my mom's dad's side and one on my dad's side. And the one on my dad's side was still around. So that's the one that I
still, though, honestly, 2 different grandfathers with some goddamn solid camera gear.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive. I don't care who you are. Like, the idea of both of those guys being like, that is a fine quality product and I will spend the dollars on it.
Yeah. My grandmother on my dad's side said you could buy this Leica if you give up smoking. And so he gave up smoking and he got the camera.
Good man.
So, but yeah, being able to use it and getting back into 50s again, I'm excited about that because I shoot like really wide or really tight.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And then to be able to use all my dad's old lenses. They're not as sharp as the modern ones, but fuck it. I like
that's still though. They're super cool though.
Yeah. Like the old lenses, the old manual Nikon lenses hold up really well. They feel good. They look great.
That's rad.
So I'm happy.
Good man.
Can't get any more shit. I just
at least not for a while.
Yeah, for a while. All right. Do you have time for the thing you had the idea for?
Yeah, we can do that kind of quick.
All right, let me pause. Okay, well, Brandon Chalmers, you alluded it to the in the cold open. You have a question about one slow hand. Eric Clapton.
So let me see. So what prompted this was you and I. This was before I left for vacation. I saw, and I had known that Eric Clapton had been pretty adamant about, not wanting to deal with masks and being kind of anti-vax. And near this time, I think he is openly anti-vax. But to be fair about this, I have not bothered to get super into his politics or anything else like that. I've seen a couple news articles and been like, oh, man. And to my understanding, I think it's David Glimmer from Pink Floyd and also Van Morrison are also of this ilk. And the reason it popped up in my head is because Eric Clapton released a new song and it's called This Has Gotta Stop. And the music video is bad. Oh. And the music is bad.
Oh, you watched the video and you subjected your ears to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because you're talking to somebody who really fucking loved Clapton growing up. Like, because it was what I was exposed to, because it was a little different. Like, I grew up listening to Zeppelin and AC/DC and everything else like that, but Clapton shit, it was a little slower. And like, one of my favorite moments in music is you get toward the tail end of Layla. And the idea of that song basically being a love song for George Harrison's wife, and then the crescendo of him actually winning her heart, and then the whole thing ending with the piano crescendo, and the whole moment in the end of that song with the building piano and the guitar solo, it feels like a sunrise on a new day. Like the inside of that album cover is literally like a painting of a sunrise. It's like, this makes a ton of sense. I loved that shit. And to find out that guy is a shit doesn't surprise me, because he's a sheltered fucking guy who lives in England and just wants to go out and perform with his friends and doesn't understand why he has to listen to rules. And that's really disappointing. But what I ended up asking you was that it was a moral question. Yes. And I posed this for Van Morrison. I posed this for Pink Floyd. I posed this for Clapton. If there are any others I know, to my understanding, I think James Hetfield from Metallica is a bit problematic as well. Ooh. In this sense. Yeah. So like, I don't know what the rest of the band has done, but like, there's been a lot of like, we'll see how the jury goes out on that. I was like, seriously, you're waiting this fucking long. And you and I have talked about how like Paul Stanley has been super fucking rad.
That's so weird. Like of all of them, I would have expected Kiss to have their heads way up their ass. And they're just like, nope. Gotta be safe.
So the question that I have is, especially in the case of Clapton, is it still okay to listen to his old stuff? That's my first question. And then the follow-up that might be a caveat to that is, what if I steal it so they make nothing? Like if I even purposely delete everything off of iTunes so they don't even get the insulting like 1/100th of 1 penny per song. Yeah. And I literally go on like YouTube and do the YouTube to MP3 riff and rip it off and then load it up myself. So I'm stealing it, not only from a large corporation, not only from his record company, but making sure he makes nothing. Yeah. Am I able to enjoy his old stuff and go, you know what? This is okay.
I feel like I'm going to address the stealing first, because that one's easier to deal with. It doesn't matter, because the streams that you're listening to on Apple Music or Spotify is so minuscule. Like you don't make a dent into his bottom line. So steal it, listen to it on the streaming service. That part of the equation doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, I assumed at this point now, unless I flat like bought merch from him directly or concert tickets or whatever it is, they ain't really making any money on me.
They're really not making any money off of you. Like, Spotify streams are worthless in terms of payouts and stuff like that. So like whatever you listen to it doesn't matter. If it makes you feel better consciously stealing it, hell yes. Okay. I'm all about like doing that kind of thing.
Right.
Whether or not you listen to the old stuff, like I have a feeling he was always an asshole in this manner. But
well, I mean, in all fairness, he stole George Harrison's wife.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. So like, he's not like, a great dude. Like,
right. Like, and if you ask me to rank the Beatles, I'll rank the Beatles, but George Harrison's one of the good ones at the very least.
Well, George stole Ringo's wife.
Oh, that's right. God, I forgot about that. Fucking hell.
I don't know. I guess it depends on if you can separate the art from the artist, and it goes to like the whole Michael Jackson thing. Like
I was going to ask, and I was going to tiptoe around it because I understand that could be a sensitive one for you, because I know MJ holds a very, soft spot in your heart from listening to him for years.
But we don't. Like Audrey and I, whenever he comes on, we don't. If it's on in the store, you can't help it. Like if other people are playing it, we're not going to go and get in their face and be like, how can you do that? Because other people have different opinions. And so like for Michael Jackson, we have made the stance that like, that's not okay.
And I'm of the same way. But then I ask myself the question, is Clapton being anti-vax and being a sheltered shit the same thing?
I feel like it's slightly different. I in terms of like,
because like we're not talking about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And I know that's me now. And I guess really then the question would be, where's your moral line?
The anti-vax stuff does kill people, but it's a less direct version of.
Well, and this is the question that I have is basically like, if I found that Eric Clapton got sick and then called all of his loved ones over and 6 people died because Eric Clapton was a shithead.
Done.
Right.
Yeah. Done.
If Eric Clapton says, I don't want to get the vaccine because I think it's stupid, and I don't understand why we can't just go out and do whatever the fuck we please, because, we should be able to do whatever the fuck we please. Anyone in my thought process who goes, yeah, you know what? Eric Clapton's right. I'm not getting the vaccine either. It's probably not long for this world anyway.
Yeah. And so then,
like,
and then the other thing is like, do you want to give Eric Clapton that power? Like, when it comes to medical advice about a pandemic, are you going to ask a musician, or are you going to ask someone with expertise in that field?
No, I'm going to ask a comedian with a large podcast following, who likes to sell supplements, Jamie.
I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. Fuck him. So like, I would not, if I am in the market for a Fender Stratocaster, I would ask Eric Clapton. I would look up his opinion.
His signature model.
Yeah.
It's real fucking good. I played it. It's real fucking good.
I had a roommate in college who had it, and it was really good. He played nothing but death metal, but he was like, I got this guitar because it's real fucking good.
I mean, you know what? Cool.
The lace sensors are nice. They don't make a sound.
I get it. No, it's a beautiful guitar. But yeah, I think that's like, really my question is like, as we have gotten into, and this has been kind of an ongoing thing of like, because it's a varying degree of things. Because the more we have access to people in pop culture, the more we understand who they are as actual people. And the more we understand who they are as people, the less we want to understand who they are as people.
Yeah, like I'm not going to go through Eric Clapton's lists of interviews to ask him about his thoughts on Afrofuturism and why Black Panther was like a revolution.
Right. But what I do want to be able to do is throw on his Unplugged concert from fucking 94 and not feel like I'm an asshole. And I'm real on the fence about that. And it makes me very sad. And I know that that's a super sheltered white guy thing to say. Like, you can't play Eric Clapton's acoustic concert from 94. Oh, poor baby. And like, I get it. That is a first world and a half fucking problem. But at the same time, like we all find comfort in the things that we find comfort in. And I've been listening to that album since I could fucking remember. And like, I bought the CD 3 times. It was one of the first things I downloaded when I had the ability to start downloading music. Like, I fucking love that album, and I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conundrum because Potter fans are going through that right now.
Yeah,
because a lot of them are queer, a lot of them are trans, a lot of them looked to Harry Potter as sort of a place where they could find refuge, only to find out that the creator has her head way up her ass and is being very harmful to the trans community.
Right.
And doubles down on that shit when people are trying to get her to be like, hey, what you're saying is very, very hurtful.
Right. So, but didn't she get thrown out of England?
Oh, I don't know.
To my understanding, I believe she's already been thrown out of England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, I think once you're willing to just tell the queen, be like, oh, really? Well, go fuck yourself. Then fuck it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm projecting, but I swear I read a thing where he basically equated down to like, she had too much money and she was getting a little outspoken and somebody was like, hey, so you should settle down. You're making us look bad. And she was like, hey, I'm really rich and you should go fuck yourself. And I think they very quietly were like, could you move to Wales?
Wales.
Yeah. Wales. Yeah. Like I forget where they sent her to, Ireland or Scotland or Wales or somewhere else or fucking Quebec. I don't know, whatever. One of the ones with that old lady on the money. All I know is like, they from what I understand, not what I know, what I understand with no research, because I've never been a huge Potter fan. Sorry, kids. I know it's going to drive some people nuts. I've talked about it before. I still to this day have not seen the first half of the last 2 movies. I didn't see it before I went in and saw the second half in theaters and drove everyone I was with nuts when I walked out and they were like, what'd you think is a sequel? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't see the first half. So
Excellent troll. I like
fucking it. Marty was so upset about that. It's like, how could you? I was like, what the fuck's to know?
Yeah,
like
it's not a surprise.
Yeah, like I get it. Alan Rickman's here. That's rad. Nose has an issue. He can't kill a baby, so he's really not that much of a threat. And I assume some of these young kids are gonna fuck. So like, that's really all I need to know.
Yeah, I don't know, Brandon. I personally would not hold it against you to listen to Eric Clapton. It's for me, it's one of those kind of things. Like I've never been huge into him, and to find out that he's an asshole after taking Robert Johnson's music and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
That fits. That like to me, that fits in line with his entire everything. Like this is very Eric Clapton to me. So it's like, I wouldn't call you like now if you were streaming his new song and blasting it out, like driving around with it and being like, check this out, then we might have to have a little bit of a conversation. But like his old stuff, he was already problematic then. You liked this shit back then. Like, I feel like you could sit easy with your conscience to listen to that. Cause at least he's not going out and licking people and getting them sick on purpose, you know?
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that.
He's not grooming nobody. I mean, he's stealing people's wives, but they were all doing that.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, turns out that was just a regular fucking thing.
So, what fucked up, but like.
Yeah, no, I get that. I can't really argue that.
So, I mean, I feel like, for me, I feel like listening to his old stuff is fine. He's not making any money off of you. Like,
I think that's the important part is so long as I don't give Eric Clapton any fucking money.
Yeah, you're not buying his merch. You're not buying his signature guitar.
No.
Because it's overpriced.
Yeah. Also, I'm not a big fan of Stratocasters, but that's just a personal preference thing.
Stratocasters.
The neck's too thick for me to play comfortably.
Oh, they make different profiles.
Oh, see, I'm talking about the Clapton one because it always felt too thick for me where I have to use my thumb to do hammer offs on the low E.
Oh, yeah.
And I could never get used to that Stevie Ray Vaughan style kind of playing.
Yeah, no, don't get
the
that
hopping back and forth and everything else like that.
Don't get that one. Don't get that one. Don't get his. Yeah. You're not buying his. You're not like buying his shit at auction.
No. Nope.
You don't have Clapton is God stickers on the back, you know. I mean, he's not. When they were putting that up.
No, but he might be the angel of death. So, there's that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why people talk to these musicians about their opinions on stuff like this.
I do, because they're people who are of relative interest, who have a huge platform. And if what you say is relevant in a song that speaks to you for decades and those lyrics matter to you, then why wouldn't their opinion about other things actually matter to you?
I suppose, but it's like people getting mad at Jim Brewer for saying he won't perform in places that I'm like, who really cares about what Jim Brewer has to say? Come on, man.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I guess from your perspective, you're like, guy was the goat boy. Why are you surprised when all of a sudden he's a shithead?
Yeah,
I get that. But I mean, to my understanding, like, I have a couple of friends who are like diehard metalheads, where Jim Brewer was like the metalhead comedian other than Brian Posehn. So the idea of him being a shithead, they're like, dude, no, nah, goat boy. And I'm like, duh, man. Yeah. I literally, I felt like Swiper. Like, like it was literally just like, Brandon, they're listening. Brandon, they're listening. Brandon, they're listening. Man.
But Eric Clapton, fuck dude's wife, who was producing the song he was playing on.
I know.
So like,
but hang on.
He's always been an asshole.
Yes, but he won her in a guitar battle. And that is equally really cool and the whitest shit I've ever heard.
It is.
Two British guys, both in prominent bands and both prominent guitarists, in front of a music producer who witnessed this whole thing, wins the dude's wife's hand. And literally, by the way, how fucking angry must George Harrison have been for missing a note or two where his wife was like, look, nothing, like that should have been an unlockable level in Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah,
where like you both play While My Guitar Gently Weeps. George Harrison's wife has to leave with you. Like that has to be.
Oh god, that's
how
awesome.
Is that not a Rock Band unlockable level? Like
that should be DLC, man.
That needs to be DLC. Like, I honestly, we can do it now. We can do like a Clapton is an asshole guitar pack or something like that. Where like, look, it's him stealing George Harrison's wife. It's him playing Old Folks Homes, playing My Father's Eyes. Yeah. So you get to see a bunch of 65-year-old men weep as their 90-year-old dads are get ever closer to the grave. We're like, I'm really sorry, Dad. I didn't mean it. And then the last one is just a thing where you have to just click the strum bar to get him to actually run, and it's like a zombie bonus game, and he actually does have COVID, and he just runs around and like licks other people, and just the last thing you hear is slow hand, Layla, slow hand. And then literally at the end, you play the already unlockable song Crossroads, only you're the angel of death.
Bone, 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 bone.
No, not that one.
God,
that feels like the most fucking Carlos Santana mashup ass thing ever. Is Eric Clapton and Bone Thugs in Harmony. Crossroads featuring Bone Thugs Crossroads.
Oh fuck, I gotta see if anyone's done that mashup.
You know someone has to have done that mashup.
I think in the end, Eric Clapton is mostly harmless because the people who are listening to him are gonna die anyway. And
that speaks well for my choice in sandwiches, Jamie. That sort of vote of confidence is like, hey, so guess what? If you are a dad, it ain't gonna be for long, right, Slugger? Like,
no, I feel like the audience that he's talking to is not healthy to begin with.
Yeah.
So
mentally.
Yeah, I feel like he's harmless. Like no 20-year-old is going to say like, whoa, if Eric Clapton says it, I'm going to just, I'm going to start licking people.
No, I get it. I mean, I could very much, I don't know about you, but I could very much see a bunch of this is really my problem is it gives weird, uncomfortable, not appropriate, but funny anthem songs to anti-vax rallies because the idea that they can all shuffle into an arena unmasked carrying dumb signs to Van Morrison's Brown-Eyed Girl makes me laugh hysterically and also feels very, very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess money breaks your brain. Like,
yeah,
I guess money breaks your brain. If you are surrounding yourself with roadies who just their job is to be on hand. If an E string goes out of tune, not breaks. If it goes out of tune, for them to hand you a whole ass new guitar, then your view on the world is going to be slightly warped.
Yeah, no, I can hear it now with Van Morrison playing like some sort of like freedom concert or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we didn't have to wear masks? And you're like, oh God, no, Van, don't do that.
Yeah.
You my brown lung girl.
You remember when we used to sing?
Yeah. I can't breathe. Nah, nah, nah. Bit by bit by bit by bit, my lungs. Like, okay. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Oh God. Why can't these people die early, Jamie, so that I can wear their t-shirts and buy them at Target and talk about how great they are when really they weren't all that great long term, looking at you, Michael Bracco, and your love of Kurt Cobain?
Oh, yeah.
The two things that confuse the life out of me, your hatred of Tom Hanks and his hatred of Dave Grohl. I love the both of you. I don't understand that shit.
I think
we've talked about this. I do my best not to give you a hard time about it. And you've made it very clear in the past that like, you get why everybody else and it just ain't your bag. And that is perfectly fine.
Yeah. I think for music, music is very personal. So like,
no, I get it. I understand if you had to listen to like Pat Boone level Christian shit growing up, and then you're 16 and someone hands you Nevermind, it is a life-changing event for you.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how then you're handed Pearl Jam's 10 and you're like, fuck this is terrible.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's the part I don't get.
Doesn't make any sense.
Then you're handed Foo Fighters Color in the Shape because, by the way, the person you're excited about is already fucking dead. Yeah. And then you're handed Color in the Shape and you're like, this is terrible. It sounds like the other band that I love and I don't like it because of that.
God.
And I'm like, you need to sit down now. You've gone round the bend, my friend. Round the bend.
Round the bend. Well, so for me, Brandon, I think it's okay for you to listen to Clapton.
Cool.
Cream stuff, old stuff.
Yeah, old Yardbird stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Stuff.
Yeah, like there's a lot of old good shit there.
There's a lot of old good shit. I think it's interesting because being a musician these days, it's not just about the music. Like all of those old albums, it was just about the music because you didn't have access to them like we have access to all these artists now.
Right.
And so I think if this was like, if he was super anti-polio, who gives a fuck, you know? You would never know because no one.
Yeah, because no one's anti.
Because like, Walter Cronkite wasn't going to ask Eric Clapton about fucking polio. Like,
yeah. There was no Tom Brokaw interview.
Yeah.
Call me by Clapton. You care for polio. Yeah. Like there's none of that happening. So we don't ask people, but now.
And it's different now. Like you can't just be one thing. Like I can't just be a cartoonist. Like
I got it.
If I ever get on, people are going to go through all my Twitter shit and they're going to find out I'm a super lib fuckhead. So
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Okay. So here's my thought process. Hi, friends of the internet. This is your buddy,
Brandon Chalmers. Now, I don't know if you realized it, but I'm a rather heavy-set white guy with a beard who's in his mid to late 30s, which means I am the prime demographic for both new and old rock and roll music. Now, what that means is that I find myself at, ironically enough, a crossroads where I find things like, yes, with Captain Cabo Wabo himself, who was anti-mask and everything else like that from Van Halen,
no question.
Van Hagar, yeah,
that's
right,
not even a surprise,
right? Or I find myself, with Eric Clapton, and all I can think is, if you run a record company that represents these guys, if you run a PR firm that represents these guys, if you happen to be their assistant or you happen to know someone who is, it's time to hand them someone like me. What you need is someone who outweighs them easily by 50 pounds, who's a little tech savvy and who has no problem getting fired by them and telling them to go fuck themselves because they work for the record company, not for you. And their job, their sole job, is to keep their shitty opinions out of the media until they're not relevant anymore. And we can go back to all living our lives. Because I don't think it helps anyone right now having these people spout off at the mouth. I really don't.
Nope.
I don't think anything's gained of it.
Nope.
I really, really don't. And I know some of you were like, but I want to know whether or not this person's a shithead. Here's a suggestion. Do you think that person might be a shithead? Assume they're a shithead. Stop listening to them. Tell your friends that person's a shithead. See if that makes any traction on the internet. Yeah. Probably won't, but fuck it. Yeah. Have fun. It's your own holiday.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You think I give a shit about David Lee Roth's opinion on anything?
I wasn't talking about David Lee Roth. I was talking about Sammy Hagar.
Oh,
to my understanding,
Hagar.
David Lee Roth is actually a pretty decent dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ironically, that is all right, but can't drive 55 has a serious fucking issue with masks and social distancing and staying home. Except for the fact that the only reason I can think he wants that to stop is because he makes all of his money now not playing music with, by the way, the people who were in his band who very clearly get paid by the hour and do not have any interest in anything other than that paycheck. And Sammy is here to do two things: talk about Cabo Wabo and sell Cabo Wabo. And he cannot drive ironically fast enough to fucking get to his point about Cabo Wabo because that guy is hard up for money. Turns out running a tequila distillery and not having great distribution means your business suffers in a pandemic.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Pop quiz, Jamie. When was the last time you walked past a liquor store shelf and saw Cabo Wabo?
I don't know.
Exactly. But that's the point.
But I don't drink. So never.
You know what? I do. And I can't remember the last time I saw Cabo Wabo in stores. Maybe it's because I'm not looking for it. Maybe it's because Sammy Hagar's a douchebag. I'm unclear why. And this is the problem: is Humans Being is one of my favorite Van Halen songs, and I'm not allowed to listen to it anymore because he's a fucking asshole. But I guess, fuck it, I can steal from that guy, so I guess it must be kind of okay then. So
I mean, yeah,
I'm downloading the Twister soundtrack tonight. The ghost of Philip Seymour Hoffman rides again. Deep Purple will blast once again triumphantly from my speakers as I head into fucking work. Oh, man. So, kids, I guess what I'm getting at is listen to what you want. Try not to deal with any baby danglers or abusers or anything else like that. And
don't step to the left. Don't
And don't bounce. And as much as you believe you can fly, keep that shit inside. So go get vaxxed.
Steal it.
Or steal it. Steal it. Go on, steal it.
You remember when Chumbawamba came out and they were like, steal our album?
Yeah.
You like Chumbawamba. Steal it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire up Kaza.
Be like Chumbawamba. Get knocked down. Get back up again. Tell them they're never going to keep you down.
Fire up that LimeWire.
Yeah. Dust off that old compact tower in your basement. Throw a fucking Ethernet connection to the back of that bad boy. Watch that thing get real goddamn confused by internet connectivity at that speed.
Get that Napster, yo.
Fire up that LimeWire. Yeah. Yep. And get ready to start downloading all of the right songs by all of the wrong artists.
Take out that Winamp.
Yeah. Get ready to download things like Even Flow by Matchbox 20 and Smells Like Teen Spirit by Creed. All of the fun, great jams that were found on Napster.
Oh my God.
And LimeWire.
So good. So good. All right, Brandon Chalmers, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at that guy Chalmers. You can also find me this Saturday, only you can't because I ain't telling you where it's happening. Getting fucking hits, y'all. Yeah. I'm getting hits, y'all. Oh yeah.
Tie the knot.
That's right.
Tie the knot.
Officially off the market. I'm a blast. What is it? Is it Drew Hill's I'm Gonna Get Married?
Oh, I don't know.
I Just Want to Get Married. I'm trying to remember what the fuck it is. Hang on. Keep going. Jamie Noguchi, where can they find you?
Instagram, Jamie Noguchi, YouTube, here, Spotify, wherever you find this, wherever podcasts are sold, you can find our shit. Like
fucking Jagged Edge, son. That's what I'm talking about. It's going to be blasting Jagged Edge all day. All day. That's all you're going to hear from me. I'm going to wake up early. And all my fiance's going to be hearing is me just brushing my teeth. Going to the chat. Anyway, yep. Go be obnoxious, but please be vaccinated when you do it.